Hey trainers, welcome back to Pokemon Deck Check. I would be Poke Dad. And I'm still without the Dancing Bear. So we're doing some deck profiles without him. And Cortana's popping up as usual. I don't know why. There we go. Sorry about that. You know how things go at Poke Dad. There's always some sort of hiccup. Usually it's the Dancing Bear hiccuping. But today, Empoleon. I think we've got something here, folks. The Dancing Bear disagrees, but we know Poke Dad's always right. So, let's get into it. Let's do this. Alright, so we're rolling with the 4 Piplup, 4 Primplup, 4 Empoleon, 2 Fionn, I believe that's how you pronounce it. Fionn, 4 Drutch, 1 Dido. Okay, so Fionn, you've probably heard us talking about how awesome this card is. If it's on your bench, then you can force your opponent to switch their active with a bench Pokemon, and then you put that on the bottom of your deck. Super, super good. Awesome. We got the Drachi, obviously consistency booster. We are playing a stage 2, and we don't necessarily want to be rare canding with this deck, okay? So that's going to be the challenge with this deck. Because Empoleon, for 1 colorless, he can copy any attack from its previous evolutions, okay? For one colorless. Primplup has an amazing attack that does 100 damage to the bench. That's so just snipe 100 to the bench and everything's awesome. Empoleon could also copy Piplup's attack, which does 80 damage, and if it's a basic, it can attack next turn. That is awesome. That's really good. That forces them to have a switching card, otherwise they're not attacking. So that's super, super awesome. And that's why I think we've got something here, because for 1 energy, we're able to copy 2 fairly good attacks. You know? You could set it up maybe like hit them with the Fionn so they put something they don't want to in the active, hit them with the 80 so they can't attack, and then, you know, like Dedenne. Hit Dedenne with 80, they have to retreat it, and then you can snipe it for the last 100, 2 prizes. So I think it's really good. And then its second attack, 2 colorless, 130, and then discard an energy. So I have a really good idea for that I think y'all are gonna like. I think it's pretty spicy. So, but that's the Pokies. Let's move on. Moving on. I do worry about the lightning weakness for obvious reasons. Zekrom's still extremely powerful and popular. 3 of the Lily Poke Dolls. And this is completely out of order. See, this is a Poke Dad fail here. 1 Lana Finishing Rod. 2 Giant Bombs. A Reset Stamp. 2 Escape Boards. 2 Poke Gear 3.0, 4 Poke Comp, 2 Great Catcher. So, that was completely out of order, but y'all get the gist of it. So, our only forms of search here is Poke Comp. That has to get it done. No rare candy because we want to be copying Primplup's attack most of the time. And then we can put up Lily's Poke Doll while we set up our stuff on the bench. They don't take a prize card if they knock out the Poke Doll, and that gives us time to completely set up our bench and evolve. So that's definitely going to buy us some time. They're not getting prizes. Giant Bomb is going to be perfect for setting up numbers. So they hit into Empoleon has 160. So if they want to one hit KO it, they're going to have to do 170 or 180. And I don't know of anything off the top of my head that does 170. So more than likely they're going to be hitting 180 into it. That's going to put 100 damage back onto them. So that damage could be significant. It could definitely be a game changer. So 2 poke gear because we do obviously want to start the turn 1 Elm. We are playing a slower setup deck, so you got the reset stamp. It'd be nice to have 2, but we don't have the space. The fishing rod, we can get back shuffle in a Pokemon plus a tool, either the Giant Bomb or a skateboard. So that's really good. So yeah. No rare candy. And honestly, there's probably not room for rare candy. I think you would not play the Clefairy doll or the Lily Poke doll if you're going to go a rare candy route. But the doll just seems too good not to play it, honestly. 4 Elm, like we talked about, we want to be playing that. 3 Lily, 4 Cynthia. 4 Elm plus the 2 poke gear, so it's like we're playing 6 Elm. Hopefully we can get it on turn 1, and then from there, sometimes it's nicer to see 6 rather than just gaining 2 or 3. We do play the Drachi engine, so I think that gets it done. 7 forms of draw plus 4 Jirachis. So yeah, I think we're okay there. I think we're definitely okay. Stadiums, because we are a little bit short on that 130 times 2. We're at 260 on a Charizard. There's our last tick of damage. That gets us to our 270. So we're putting major pressure on Charizard. We're also putting a lot of pressure on Zekrom, because we can 2-shot him easily. But we also put pressure on Mewtwo by 2-shotting him. 130, 130, and then a Shrine Tick, 270. So I like kind of the direction this deck is going. So yeah, I still think Zekrom's going to be tough, but I like it against some of the more popular stuff. Now for energy, it's going to seem awkward, but we're going to have 4 Recycle, 4 Triple, and then just 2 in case somebody's running Viridian Forest. We can grab an energy like that. So Recycle energy. If we use Empoleon's second attack, we have to discard an energy. We can put it right back. If we have triple acceleration, we can just attach it to Empoleon, do the 130, and we have to discard it anyway, so it works out good. So I think this is the correct energy to play in this deck. It might be a little excessive. You could probably go down to something, say, like that if you wanted to, but I mean, y'all know me well enough that I'd rather have too much than not enough. So that's the energy count. So how do I see this deck? We haven't tested this. This is in my workshop while the dancing bears away. So where do we see this deck? Obviously, it's going to struggle against Zekrom, but I really like it against Ability Zard. I really like it against Green's Charizard. I don't hate it against the Mewtwo stuff. I mean, I'm not saying that it is going to beat Mewtwo, but I don't necessarily hate the matchup. It's going to struggle against any sort of one prize attack deck. It's going to struggle against the Malamar stuff. Like Ultra Necrozma could put a lot of pressure on it. So it's definitely going to struggle in some areas. And then others, I think it's going to be quite surprising on how well it does. Especially if we can get those Poke Dolls in the active. And that gives us enough time to set up possibly like 2 Empoleons on the bench, and then they take a couple knockouts on the Poke Dolls. That's going to give us plenty of time to get going and get everything set up. So I think I'm not. I think there's something here. I'm not sure how good it's going to be in terms of the matchups. And Blacephalon matchup, I like you against that because you're able to one shot the Naganadals with the 130 or one shot the Blacephalons. So I really like the Blacephalon matchup. I really like any Charizard, either Ability Zard or Green Zard. I don't necessarily hate the Mewtwo matchup, but I don't like the Zekrom matchup, and I don't like the Malamar stuff matchup. So those are probably the two that stick out the most in my mind. I also like him against Guardian, Gardevoir, Sylveon stuff. So I like these 5 matchups, but you do have the 2 bad matchups. So keep that in mind. And I've rambled enough, so I've got one more profile to do. And so, yeah, till that profile, be excellent to each other and party on, dudes.